I want to tell you something about the smart grid in Germany. Is it an innovative chance or a critical risk? And I want to tell you something about the things we're doing here since several times. So what is Stromnetz Berlin? That's a quite nice fact. I didn't know that. Berlin is the Stromnetz Berlin is the biggest urban distribution of grid operator in Europe because Berlin is such a quite wide city. We have 2.3 million grid points in our electricity grid and nearly 37,000 kilometer electrical cable, and most of them are under the ground. And we have a dedicated communication grid via DSL, OTN, SDH, and also Tetra as a wireless communication, and corresponding to e-message, also we have the pager system for steering operations in our grid, especially in the low voltage area. I will tell you something about only the low voltage area. I think that's enough for today. And we have nearly 20,000 steering points there. And let's see what you can find here in Berlin. So, okay, that's very, very, very German, the basic conditions for smart grid in Germany. What is the main task here? We have the renewable energy law on the one hand and the Energiewirtschaftsgesetz on the other hand. And all of that rises the engagement for the Energiewende or the smart grids. So we have changing generation landscape, and also we have several requirements from the government in facing to the technologies we have to use at the end in the field. And steering is one of the main basic components in German, how the future grid can work. That is one of the biggest questions we have the last, I think, 7 years. We talk in Germany about how we can steer a low voltage area and make it sense or make it not sense, and what could be the nice or the best technology. Is it perhaps the intelligent measurement or the smart meter gateway, is it called? Is it the best solution or not? And we also discussed with that, but parallel to that, we have find an own solution. So now we can look to the steering operations. What you can find in Berlin today. It's quite new here. We have several night storage heater. I think that's something since the 70s. You find such things special in the western part of Berlin. Today there are nearly 12,000 devices productive at the moment. We have several heat pumps that are close to 6,000 at the moment. It's especially in the normal one family house, or the normal small houses. Then you find electrical vehicle, the load points at vehicles are more, but loading points are 1,600 till now all over the city. These are only public points, not non-public. It's quite more, but the dark number is higher, and no one knows nearly how many they are. But in the public area, you find 1,600 at the moment. Then you have combined heat and power. That are thousands, not so much. And you have also photovoltaic in the city. These are quite smaller generation fields because the roof area is not so big. So we have nearly 6,500, but lower than 100 kilowatts per hour. Most of them are not steered, but some of them can do it on their own decision. Then you have public lighting. We have 90,000 public light receiver, and non-public lighting we have 800. So these are steerable devices at the moment in the area of Berlin. So the question is, okay, how we can reach them, because most of this receiver are in the cellar and in the lower grounds, and you have, of course, many different technologies, but most of them doesn't reach the deep indoor area. So The next slide, please. There are several requirements we have as a grid operator to a steering technology. These are only basic. We have several levels of requirements. The low voltage area is where the requirements are on the lowest level. Everyone else, other than the middle and high voltage level, the requirements are quite higher. And yeah, let's talk about the low voltage area. So the basic premise in the low voltage area is that one device has no impact to the electrical grid. It makes no sense to think about only about one heat pump or one electrical vehicle, but all devices together, when they work synchronous, you have of course a big impact. That's the reason why we use today, we order them to groups, or put them together in groups and steer them all over the city, but not in only in one grid area. So the steering in groups in this voltage area is more efficient than steer in separate devices. So that's one of the big differences between our solution and the solution of the smart meter gateway. The smart meter gateway has a point-to-point connection, and we use a broadcast signal, so to steer our groups all over the city. So we send only one message, and when you have smart meter gateway, you send 1,000 or more for every steer message. Because we are steering in groups, means that we have no personal information in my steering message. So there's nothing to hide. So the privacy is not the thing we have to secure, because when I am a hacker, it's not easy for me to find the goal of this message. So I can put it out from the air and say, okay, I have a message now of such a energy frame, but what can I do with that? So it's quite difficult. When I have point-to-point connections, then it's mostly clear where the endpoint is. So that's the reason why we doesn't secure the privacy there. The group steering has to be secured, because when you have thinking about the basic premise, you have to secure the authentication that only you are the one who can send a valid telegram to the steering endpoints. So that is the reason why we have integrated a signature, a hard signature based on the BSI requirements. And in case that every border is collapsed, we have groups which are for them only steer a whole group. Doesn't make sense to destabilize the grid. So we have in Berlin groups of 1,000 devices, and all 1,000 devices in the low voltage area is all over the city, and that in some doesn't matter for the whole electricity grid. So we have a very separated security system there, and in these requirements, and so it's not so easy for a hacker to destabilize something. Okay, let's have a look to the next slide, please. And this is the solution. This is the first pager we integrated into the grid. It was also 2014. It's so much time. So we built up, or we started to roll out these pagers in the area 2014, and we have a reachability in the whole city over 95% in deep indoor. It must be quite more, because we have a compliant quote less than 1%. The most of the pagers or most of the sellers we see with the pager, we reach also or the telegram reach the goal. It is developed together with eMessage, a special protocol. In the past, it was to get a new technology for the ripple control system we had till then, but that was too expensive to make it for the future. And so we developed this protocol to integrate all steering function we knew from the old Ripple audio control we had till then. And we kept little space for other ideas, I say. All messages are secured with BSI signature algorithms, especially it is ECDSA on brain pool curves, or also you can use, now I forgot the word. Oh, we have several curves in there, okay. And the time signal is also secured over Tesla signatures, so you cannot corrupt the time signal. Till today, we, NIST curve, thank you very much. Yeah, NIST curve, that's right. We have till now 6,200 Strompager in the whole grid in Berlin, and that steers nearly 10,000 applications, because you can put several devices on one pager. You see there are separate switches. And we have also some more devices in the city which are now have time clocks, which are also getting Strompager within the metering rollout we have in the next years, we hope. Please, the next slide. Since we have this solution, we think about how we can be an enabler for the steering in Berlin. And we had the last years several discussions with other market players like suppliers or other grid operators about this technology. And we think about, like, okay, how is it possible to use only one steering box in the field for everyone who is responsible for that customer? And this is, we have done several projects in especially in 3 focus areas to bring the Strompager further. So we developed the Strompager DX. It's a steering box which is developed in a big Syntec project. It's called WindNode. And the idea was to combine this field box with the smart meter gateway, in case that the government wants that everyone has to steer about the gateway. Makes sense or not, it's something written in the law, so we have to do it. And so we have developed this box, and you have some new interfaces to connect the smart meter gateway to link a smart meter gateway to the Strompager. So we have a combined system. We have the possibility to send out a broadcast steering signal, but we can configure the single device for over a smart meter gateway connection, and this is much more efficient than to send out a broadcast. It needs longer, and I think it's more efficient to do it over a point-to-point connection. The second focus area is we wanted to raise the intelligence of this pager, because the government thinks about that steering signals has to rely on the local grid situation. So, and the project FLAIR, as it called, is in German, Flexible Anlagen intelligent regeln, has developed an algorithm based on a voltage measurement in the customer area to calculate the switching points for that device, which is connected to the Strompager. That makes sense, especially in the countryside, because you have a very high amount of solar energy, and especially in the midday area, you have a voltage peak because of this a big generation amount. And so they have developed this algorithm, and now we will test it for a year, starting this October, for a year, to use this algorithm in the countryside and also here in Berlin for the urban grid, to test, okay, is it efficient to use that as a indicator for switching in device. So, and the third point is that we also developed a new interface for the backend system. We integrated for the head end big rule system that everyone who is responsible for a customer can get a mandate from us, and they can also steer these Strompager DX over the smart meter gateway infrastructure. But we can share this field device now. So this is a new quality. And yeah, we will try this also in this flare area. Okay, how it works, is it better or not, and get experience in sharing such a steering technology. This is something the FNN called the Koordinierungsfunktion, also some instant to coordinate all the requirements for steering something. Yeah, that's what we do. And yeah, finally, the conclusion is, at the moment in Germany, the technical conditions around steering in smart grid are not safe. There are many opinions and many ideas, but not really strong requirements you can build up a system on that. So for us, the Strompager DX solution, together with eMessage and the head-end system, fulfills all the requirements today. And from my point of view, I had to think about the solution the government wants to have, and I have to compare it to my solution, which is the more efficient from a technical, but also from an economical view. And yeah, the best one will win. We will see. This is also the discussion we have in all the associations where we are inside. So this focusing on the new areas. So we had it. We got some time with this Strompager or with this solution to think about more services we can offer for market players, and that makes us or brings us in the position to get the chance to build up innovations which perhaps change the whole system. We'll see. And yeah, and we hope that when we can realize innovative ideas with that technology, we ensure our system for the future and to use it longer. Yeah, so much for that. Thank you for listening. When you have questions, yeah, then I hear.